We're right in the middle of this huge shift in digital security, and honestly, AI is in the driver's seat. In this explainer, we're going to break down how the battle for our digital lives is moving to a completely new front: identity.
For years, cybersecurity has kind of felt like a game of whack-a-mole, right? We're always chasing symptoms, building bigger firewalls, and hoping our antivirus is smart enough. But this quote from Kevin Page at Conductor One, it just hits the nail on the head. In 2026, the industry finally agrees on what's actually been broken all along: identity. Turns out, for all this time, we've kind of been protecting the wrong thing.
So let's dive right in with our first section: identity, the new battlefield. This is all about a fundamental shift in how we think about security, moving from protecting networks to defending who you are online. So why does it always seem to start with identity? Well, pretty much every major attack you hear about, whether it's ransomware or a big cloud compromise, it all comes back to a few core problems. We give people way more access than they need, old permissions just hang around forever, credentials get stolen, and we totally forget about all those non-human accounts running our systems in the background. It's not about one single weak password. It's a systemic failure to manage who has the keys to the kingdom.
And this is a huge point. Authentication without governance is just a faster compromise. We all use things like multi-factor authentication, that second code you get on your phone, and we feel pretty safe. But here's the deal. If an attacker gets control of an account that has way too much power, that MFA is just a speed bump. The real damage happens because of the excessive access they get after they're already in.
Now, let's look at how this whole threat is evolving. Section 2, AI, the attacker's upgrade. Because we're not just dealing with human attackers anymore. AI is like a massive force multiplier for the bad guys. Just look at the difference here. Traditional attacks, they were slow, manual. Imagine an attacker sitting there crafting every single phishing email by hand. With AI, they can automate and scale everything. They can launch thousands of incredibly convincing, personalized attacks at a speed no human defense team could ever match. It's not really a new type of attack, it's the old playbook just put on hyperdrive.
But here's the thing. AI isn't just making old attacks better, it's creating entirely new kinds of risk. And that brings us to Section 3, the unseen employee.
So what in the world is an AI agent identity? Well, think of it like a user account, just like the one you have for work. But instead of being for a person, it's for an AI. It's got its own permissions, its own credentials, like API keys, and it can just go off and do things all by itself. It's basically a digital robot with a company ID badge. And this quote from Shoemaker, Loop, and Kendrick really puts it perfectly. An AI agent with its own identity is, for all intents and purposes, a non-human employee. Except this one works at machine speed, it never sleeps, and it can be tricked way more easily. It's the most productive employee you could ever have. And also, potentially, the most dangerous. This comparison is pretty eye-opening because it highlights a huge security gap. With our human employees, we have rules, right? We make them rotate passwords, use MFA, and when they leave the company, we shut down their accounts. But for these AI agents, we often throw those rules out the window. Their credentials, things like API keys, which are basically just really long passwords for apps, they almost never get rotated. MFA is often skipped to make automation easier, and their accounts can live on for years with nobody really owning or watching them. Attackers know this, and they see these accounts as the perfect, persistent backdoor. And all of this weakness, it opens the door for a really clever and pretty scary new attack vector: prompt injection. So how does this even work? Well, it's actually dangerously simple. Step 1, an attacker hides a malicious command inside some data they know the AI agent is going to look at, maybe in an email or a document. Step 2, the AI agent, just doing its job, reads that data and, executes the hidden command using its own permissions. And finally, just like that, the AI becomes an unwitting insider threat, leaking sensitive data or doing things it was never ever supposed to do.
Okay, that's a lot of doom and gloom. So let's talk about solutions. Section 4, defending at machine speed. Because if the attacks are happening at machine speed, our defense has to keep up.
When a breach happens, and it will, there's a critical mantra for incident response. Don't lock the door before you kick the intruder out. This is all about the order you do things in. Getting it wrong can make a bad situation so much worse. And here is that right order. Your first instinct is probably to reset the password, right? Wrong. That's actually the wrong move. First, you kill all the active sessions. You log the attacker out of everything, everywhere. You kick them out.
Second, you reset any MFA devices they might have added. You lock the door so they can't get back in. Then, and only then, do you change the password. That sequence stops the attacker from using their active session to just create a new backdoor while you're busy changing the locks.
This timeline just shows you how incredibly fast this all has to happen. We're not talking about days or weeks. In the first 5 minutes after an alert, a global sign-out should be happening. Within 15 minutes, all those background refresh tokens, the things that keep you logged into apps with protocols like OAuth and SAML, they need to be zapped. By the 30-minute mark, you're already preserving evidence, and by the end of the first hour, you need to know exactly how big the blast radius is. This is an absolute sprint where every single second counts.
So, beyond that immediate response, our long-term strategy has to change too. It means we have to start treating AI agents like real employees with a full life cycle from start to finish. It means using AI to defend against AI with things like AI firewalls that can spot and filter malicious prompts. And it means we have to be absolutely ruthless about enforcing least privilege for everyone and everything. And for anyone with powerful access, we have to mandate the strongest, phishing-resistant MFA out there, like using a physical security key with a protocol called FIDO2.
So, as we look towards 2026 and beyond, the big takeaway is crystal clear. Identity isn't just a part of your security plan anymore. Identity is the security plan. It's the new control plane for literally everything.
And that leaves us with one final question, one that every single organization out there really needs to answer for itself. Are you still stuck in the old world, just building bigger walls around your infrastructure? Or are you ready to defend the one thing that truly matters, identity?